Welcome to Calm and Cozy Bedtime. Tonight, we invite you on a journey full of emotions, wonder, and warmth. This is the tale of Buddy, a brave little golden retriever puppy, and his remarkable adventure to find his way back home. It's a story of courage, kindness, and the transformative power of love, a narrative that will inspire you and soothe your soul as you prepare to drift into a peaceful slumber. So grab your coziest blanket, nestle into your favorite spot, and let your imagination take flight. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to enjoy more heartwarming bedtime stories. In a serene little town nestled amidst rolling green hills, life was simple yet beautiful. It was the kind of town where the air smelled of fresh flowers, children's laughter echoed through the streets, and neighbors greeted each other with warm smiles. Among the many happy homes, there was one small house with a red door and a picket fence where joy seemed to overflow. Living there was a golden retriever puppy named Buddy, whose golden fur shone like the morning sun, and whose sparkling eyes reflected his boundless curiosity and zest for life. Buddy was the heart of his family, loved by everyone for his playful antics and endless energy. He loved to chase butterflies in the garden, roll in the soft grass under the warm sun, and splash in the tiny creek that flowed nearby. But more than anything, Buddy loved spending time with his best friend and soul companion, a little girl named Lily. Lily was a bright and cheerful child with a laugh that could light up the darkest day. Her dark curls framed her rosy cheeks, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity, much like Buddy's. From the moment Buddy was brought home as a tiny pup, Lily and he were inseparable. Their days were filled with endless adventures, from exploring the woods behind their house to racing each other across open fields. The bond between Buddy and Lily was magical. They weren't just playmates, they were each other's confidants. Lily would tell Buddy all her secrets, and though Buddy couldn't talk, his wagging tail and attentive eyes always made her feel understood. Every evening, after their adventures, Buddy would curl up on the soft rug by the fireplace. Lily would sit beside him, gently stroking his fur as she read him fairy tales. The warmth of the crackling fire, the softness of her voice, and the steady rhythm of Buddy's breathing created a cocoon of comfort and love. Life in their cozy home was blissful. Every moment was a celebration of the small joys that came from love, friendship, and togetherness. Buddy had everything a little puppy could dream of: affectionate owners, a best friend, and a home filled with happiness. But as life often does, it had an unexpected twist in store. One sunny afternoon, while Buddy was chasing a particularly colorful butterfly near the edge of their yard, a loud noise startled him. Before he could understand what was happening, Buddy found himself wandering beyond the familiar bounds of his garden. The world outside was bigger, noisier, and far more confusing than Buddy had ever imagined. As Buddy ventured further, he soon realized that he had strayed too far from home. The warm comfort of the red-doored house, the scent of Lily's lavender shampoo, and the laughter that filled his days were nowhere in sight. Fear and uncertainty gripped him, but deep within his small heart, Buddy knew he couldn't give up. Somewhere out there, Lily was waiting for him, and he would do whatever it took to find his way back to her. What lay ahead was a journey unlike anything Buddy had ever experienced, a path filled with challenges, new friends, and the enduring power of hope. Join us as we dive into Buddy's extraordinary adventure, a story that will remind you of the strength that comes from love and the courage that lies within us all. It was a sunny afternoon, the kind of day that felt perfect for a walk. Lily decided to take Buddy to the park near their home. The air was crisp and refreshing, carrying a faint scent of blooming flowers, while the cheerful laughter of children echoed all around. Buddy's excitement was palpable as he tugged on his leash, eager to explore every corner of the vibrant park. His nose twitched constantly as he sniffed out the myriad of scents that filled the air. As they strolled through the park, Buddy's energy seemed endless. He darted from one side of the path to the other, investigating bushes, chasing shadows, and wagging his tail so vigorously it almost seemed like a blur. Lily laughed as she tried to keep up with his antics, her love for her furry friend evident in her bright, beaming smile. Suddenly, the peaceful afternoon took an unexpected turn. Out of nowhere, a mischievous squirrel darted across the path, its bushy tail flicking playfully. For Buddy, this was irresistible. His instincts kicked in, and before Lily could tighten her grip on his leash, Buddy lunged forward with all his might. The leash slipped from Lily's hands. "Buddy, come back here!" Lily's voice rang out in alarm, her heart racing as she watched Buddy disappear into the distance. But the playful puppy was too engrossed in his chase to hear her. His focus was solely on the squirrel, which zigzagged across the grassy field before scrambling up the trunk of an old oak tree. Buddy skidded to a stop at the base of the tree, his tongue hanging out as he panted heavily. He looked up, bewildered, as the squirrel disappeared into the dense canopy above. The thrill of the chase subsided, and for the first time, Buddy glanced around. The sights and smells were unfamiliar. The happy chatter of children, the sound of Lily's voice, everything he knew was gone. A creeping sense of fear began to set in. Buddy barked a few times, hoping Lily would hear him, but only the rustling of leaves answered his calls. The park, which had felt so lively and inviting just moments ago, now seemed vast and overwhelming. The towering trees loomed above him, their shadows stretching across the ground like ominous fingers. The gentle breeze that once felt refreshing now carried unfamiliar sounds, the hoots of distant birds, the rustling of unseen creatures. Buddy whimpered softly, his tail drooping as he realized he was lost. For a moment, he stood frozen, his small golden frame dwarfed by the vastness of the forest that bordered the park. Then, summoning his courage, Buddy began to move. His steps were slow and hesitant as he sniffed the ground, hoping to catch a trace of Lily's scent. But the earthy aroma of damp soil, the strong smell of wildflowers, and the musk of woodland animals made it impossible to discern anything familiar. As the afternoon wore on, the golden sunlight began to fade, replaced by the deepening hues of twilight. Shadows stretched longer, and the forest grew darker. The sounds of the day, chirping birds and rustling leaves, gave way to the unsettling noises of the night. An owl hooted in the distance, and the occasional snap of a twig made Buddy jump, his ears perking up at every unfamiliar sound. Buddy's stomach growled, a painful reminder that he hadn't eaten since morning. His legs ached from walking, and his once boundless energy was all but spent. Desperation began to creep into his heart. But just as he was about to give up, he spotted a large oak tree with a hollow at its base. The small opening looked like the perfect refuge from the cold night ahead. Crawling inside, Buddy curled up into a tight ball, his golden fur glowing faintly in the dim light of the moon. The hollow was small but warm, offering him some comfort from the chill of the evening. As he rested his head on his paws, memories of Lily filled his mind. He could see her bright smile, hear her laughter, and feel the warmth of her gentle hands stroking his fur. Tears welled up in his eyes as he let out a soft whine, his heart aching with longing for the safety and love of his home. The night was long and lonely. The sounds of the forest surrounded Buddy, each noise a reminder of how far he was from the life he knew. But as he drifted off to sleep, he held on to one thought. He had to find his way back to Lily. She was out there somewhere, waiting for him, and Buddy knew he couldn't let her down. Little did Buddy know, his journey was just beginning. The forest held challenges and surprises he couldn't yet imagine. But it also held the promise of unexpected friendships and the discovery of a strength within him that he never knew he possessed. Buddy's adventure would be a test of courage and resilience, a testament to the unbreakable bond between a girl and her dog, and a story that would inspire everyone who heard it. For now, though, he lay quietly in the hollow of the oak tree, the faint sound of crickets lulling him into an uneasy sleep as the stars above twinkled like tiny beacons of hope. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the dense canopy, Buddy stirred awake in his makeshift shelter under the oak tree. The soft chirping of birds and the gentle rustle of leaves signaled the start of a new day. Though his body ached from the previous day's exhaustion, Buddy shook off the remnants of sleep, determined to continue his search for the way home. The forest, bathed in golden morning light, appeared less intimidating. Buddy sniffed the ground, his nose twitching as he tried to pick up familiar scents. He set off along a faint trail, weaving through overgrown bushes and stepping carefully over tangled roots. Occasionally, a squirrel darted past or a bird flitted overhead, but none of it distracted him from his mission. Hours passed as Buddy wandered deeper into the woods. Hunger gnawed at his belly, and the fatigue from endless walking began to weigh on him. Just as despair threatened to set in, Buddy stumbled upon a clearing bathed in sunlight. It was as if the forest had opened its arms to offer him a moment of peace. In the clearing, a herd of deer grazed quietly, their elegant forms moving gracefully amidst the tall grass. Buddy hesitated, unsure if he should approach. Then one of the deer, a gentle doe with soft, kind eyes, noticed him. She stepped forward cautiously, her gaze curious but not threatening. Buddy wagged his tail, sensing the doe's friendly demeanor. The doe sniffed him briefly before nudging him toward the edge of the clearing. There, a crystal-clear stream trickled over smooth stones, its water glinting in the sunlight. Buddy eagerly lapped up the cool, refreshing water, feeling his strength return with each sip. He looked up at the doe with gratitude, his tail wagging in earnest now. The day unfolded like a dream as Buddy followed the herd. They moved through the forest with an effortless grace, and Buddy, though clumsier, did his best to keep up. The deer showed him where to find edible berries and patches of soft grass to rest on. They taught him how to navigate steep slopes and cross slippery streams. For the first time since he had lost Lily, Buddy felt a glimmer of hope. The companionship of the herd eased his loneliness, and their quiet strength inspired him. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the herd came to a halt near a dense thicket. The air grew cooler, and the once bright forest seemed darker and more foreboding. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke the stillness. A large raccoon emerged from the underbrush, its sharp claws gleaming and its posture menacing. Buddy froze, his small body trembling as he instinctively ducked behind the doe. His heart raced and he let out a small whimper. The raccoon, undeterred, hissed and took a step closer. But the doe stood her ground, her head held high and her stance unwavering. She let out a loud snort, a warning to the intruder. As tension hung in the air, an unexpected ally swooped down, a wise old owl who had been silently observing from the treetops. With a series of sharp hoots and a dramatic dive, the owl distracted the raccoon, forcing it to retreat into the shadows. Buddy watched in awe as the raccoon disappeared, his fear replaced by admiration for the bravery of his new friends. That night, as the herd settled in a sheltered grove, Buddy lay close to the doe. He couldn't help but think of Lily and how much he missed her. But for the first time, he also felt a sense of belonging in the forest. The deer and the owl had shown him that even in the most unfamiliar and challenging places, courage and friendship could light the way. The days that followed brought new lessons for Buddy. He learned to tread softly like the deer, to listen for danger like the owl, and to trust in his instincts. The forest, once an intimidating maze, became a place of discovery and resilience. Buddy's paws grew stronger, and his spirit more determined. One evening, as the group reached the edge of the forest, Buddy's heart swelled with mixed emotions. Beyond the trees, he could see the faint outline of a distant village. Could it be his home? The doe nudged him gently, as if to encourage him to take the next step on his journey. With a grateful bark and a wag of his tail, Buddy bid farewell to the herd. He would carry their lessons and their kindness in his heart as he ventured forward. Buddy's time in the forest had been more than a test of survival. It was a transformative journey. He had faced fear and uncertainty, but he had also discovered strength, kindness, and the importance of trusting those who offer help. Though his path ahead was still uncertain, Buddy was no longer the same scared puppy who had chased a squirrel and lost his way. He was braver, wiser, and ready to reunite with Lily, no matter what challenges lay ahead. The adventure was far from over, but Buddy now knew that even in the darkest moments, hope and courage could guide him home. After countless days of wandering through the forest, Buddy's paws were weary, his fur matted, but his determination unwavering. The challenges he had faced had transformed him from a playful puppy into a resilient traveler. Yet, deep in his heart, Buddy clung to the memory of Lily, the laughter in her voice, the warmth of her hands, and the love that had always made him feel safe. One crisp morning, as the forest began to thin, a faint but familiar scent wafted through the air. Buddy stopped in his tracks, his nose twitching furiously as he tried to place the smell. It was faint at first, but as he moved forward, it became unmistakable. The sweet aroma of freshly cut grass, mingling with the faint smell of cookies from the bakery near his home. Excitement surged through him, and his tail began to wag furiously. Buddy quickened his pace, his heart pounding as he followed the trail of scents. The trees parted to reveal a grassy field, and beyond it, he saw the familiar outline of rooftops and chimneys. The distant sound of children laughing and playing reached his ears. It was his neighborhood. The sights, sounds, and smells flooded him with a rush of joy and relief. Bounding forward with newfound energy, Buddy darted through the last of the underbrush, his small frame pushing past the tall grasses that bordered the town. As the neighborhood came into full view, Buddy couldn't contain his excitement. He let out a series of joyful barks, his voice echoing through the quiet streets. The little red-doored house that he had longed for was just ahead. Buddy sprinted across the yard, his paws barely touching the ground. Reaching the familiar porch, he barked loudly, his tail wagging so vigorously it looked like a blur. Inside, Lily had been sitting by the window, her chin resting on her knees as she gazed outside with a distant, hopeful expression. The moment she heard Buddy's bark, she froze, her heart skipping a beat. "Buddy?" she whispered, hardly daring to believe her ears. She sprang to her feet and ran to the door, flinging it open. There he was, her golden-furred best friend, looking a bit rough around the edges, but very much alive. Buddy barked again and leapt into Lily's arms. She dropped to her knees, wrapping him in a tight embrace, her tears flowing freely. "Buddy, you're home!" she cried, burying her face in his fur. Buddy licked her cheeks, his tail wagging so hard it seemed it might never stop. The commotion drew the attention of the neighbors, who came out to see what was happening. Smiles spread across their faces as they saw the tearful reunion. "Buddy's back!" one of them exclaimed. Children cheered, and even the usually stern Mrs. Peterson from next door clapped her hands in delight. The whole neighborhood seemed to share in the joy of Buddy's return. That evening, Buddy lay by the fireplace, his favorite spot in the world. The warm glow of the fire danced on his golden fur as he enjoyed a meal of his favorite foods. Lily sat beside him, her hand gently stroking his back. As she spoke, her voice carried the warmth and comfort that Buddy had missed so much. She told him stories of the days he had been gone, how she had searched for him, and how much she had missed him. Buddy listened, his eyes fixed on her, his heart full. Though the journey had been long and fraught with challenges, Buddy knew it had all been worth it to be back where he belonged. The love and bond he shared with Lily had guided him through the darkest of times, like a beacon of light in the night. No matter how far he wandered, Buddy now understood that home wasn't just a place. It was the people who loved him. As the fire crackled softly and the moon rose high in the sky, Buddy drifted off to sleep. His dreams were filled with the adventures he had experienced and the warmth of being home. Whatever lay ahead, Buddy was no longer afraid. He knew that, with Lily by his side, he could face anything. And so, Buddy's journey came full circle, a testament to the enduring power of love, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a girl and her dog. Buddy's journey was one of trials and triumphs, a path filled with lessons about courage, kindness, and unwavering faith in love. Through the challenges he faced, Buddy grew not just as a brave little pup, but as a symbol of resilience. His experiences deepened the bond between him and Lily, showing that true friendship and love can overcome any obstacle. This heartwarming story reminds us that no matter how daunting life may seem, love and kindness are the guiding lights that lead us back to where we truly belong. Whether it's the love of a family, the kindness of strangers, or the courage within us, these are the forces that carry us through life's storms. If Buddy's story has touched your heart, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this tale to spread the message of love and hope. Let this story inspire us to cherish our loved ones and to extend kindness to those who may be lost and searching for their way. Thank you for joining us tonight on Calm and Cozy Bedtime. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow with another warm and meaningful story to end your day on a comforting note. Sweet dreams.